Welcome to Talent Pop Podcast, where we will provide tips and strategies for success in sales, networking, marketing, and business. We will be learning from real stories that will inspire you to unlock your potential, discover your talents, and develop the confidence to take action on your biggest dreams. We are focused on empowering women to connect their passions with their purpose to find true fulfillment. It's time to pop off, queens! Pop off, queens! Hi, this is Amanda O'Connell, your host of Talent Pop, and this is episode 12. This is going to be a very interesting episode. We have a special guest with us. Her name is Oriana Matheus. I hope I said it right.
Yes.
But she is Director of Business Development at ThinkCell, and she's going to share about her journey just with being an immigrant coming to the United States, working, growing her career, and just really becoming a rock star in what she does in the sales environment. And it's been super interesting, talking with you about your journey, and would love for you to share with the audience kind of, what it's been all about and the obstacles you've been able to overcome and have success.
Thank you so much for that intro, Amanda.
Of course.
Well, I think that it's important to say that I have a different story or even a different stereotype of what a lot of times you have in your mind as of what an immigrant is, or what do they do, or how did they come here to the U.S. and everything. But it's very relevant to understand that every immigration story, it's different. Mm-hmm. And I think that a common baseline for all of them is that there has been a lot of hustling and a lot of struggle and obstacles, like you say. So that's why I'm very excited to talk about it. So maybe I just start telling you how I ended up where am I right now.
Yeah, and you're from Venezuela, originally, born and raised there. And
yes, everything. Amazing. I lived there until I was 25.
Wow.
Yes, and that's when I came here for my MBA. And actually, it was funny because my idea of coming here was not coming to stay here. I was just really looking for an education that would get me closer to my goal, which my goal at that point was very clear. I was going to start an imports-exports business in Venezuela.
Yep.
I had the licenses and everything. I had my business partner. The company was registered. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to choose the best entrepreneurship school in the U.S. That's why I went to Babson.
Okay.
And in there, I'm going to, also get an amazing network that's going to help me achieve this goal that I have.
Yeah.
So I came here, and I think that two things happened. First, while I was here, things became really bad politically and economically in Venezuela. So I started realizing that it wasn't really an option for me to go back, which was a shame. But at the same time, I met my fiance. So we started just building a project together.
Okay.
So it was a choice, but
now,
not a choice.
What's his focus? Like, what does he study and what is he?
Perfect. So he's from Spain. So, he's also an immigrant.
Wow.
We always joke around and we're like, we really chose badly. Like, in order to be in this country, the easiest thing that you can do is just marry an American. And we both chose someone that was not an American.
That's so funny.
Yes. So, he works at a top consulting firm right now. And he also has a very interesting immigration story.
Wow.
Yes, I think that we are both cases of what people would call success. I mean, we find it successful because we're very happy in here.
Definitely.
And so that was our second reason why I stayed here. And whenever you go out into the workplace as an immigrant, right out of school, it's very complicated. So unless you are, at least in the Boston environment, unless you're graduating from Harvard or MIT, in which you're going to have the doors open or semi-open to a lot of these very big companies that are used to working with immigrants, that understand it, that have huge legal departments that just take care of it, and that the hiring managers for these positions, they don't even care what the issue is, they're just like, legal is going to handle that.
So they're used to doing all of this.
Yes, there's very few companies and for specific positions where it's just a given that even if you're an immigrant, if you're coming from one of these top schools or you have these qualifications, then they can try and make it work for you. And even when that happens, nothing is guaranteed because of how complex these processes are. Like I had a lot of friends from Harvard and from MIT that they had to go back to their home countries, even after doing an internship at one of these consulting firms or one of these investment banks and everything, just because, you know, their processes did not work out because it just works that way. So, for me, when I came out into the workplace, I did something which I recommend everyone to do, which was educate your employer. No one in this country understands, and trust me, I'm not blaming anyone, it's super complicated. They don't understand what an immigration process looks like for the person that's in front of you. So they're like, I don't know if I can hire them. I don't know how much this is going to cost them. I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't even know the names of these visas. Like, I have no idea. So I just better go with a candidate that does not have all of these issues. Hey, it's completely understandable. I get it. So if you are someone that...
Be prepared for this. No, that's great advice.
Yes. So just, you know how people should have their elevator pitch for what they do. You need to have your immigration elevator pitch. So you need to have 3 lines on, I am this person and this is the type of visa that you can hire me with, and this is the type of process that you can go through, and this is how long it's going to take and how much it's going to cost you. And of course, not even when you have that, a lot of people are going to be open to that. So I was lucky enough that I found someone. ThinkCell was a company that was starting out in the U.S. at that point. We are a very well-established company, but in Germany. So the person that was starting the operations in here, he had been an immigrant himself a long time ago. So I think that that's why he was open to hiring me, and I'm forever grateful for that, of course, and I do feel that I have a need to give back and to be open to those candidates whenever I'm hiring for my team.
Amazing. And so that's really, I remember you telling me, I mean, it was pretty much like a startup here. So you came in, and this part of your story is amazing to me, is that you came in and pretty much built was it the U.S. office? Like, well, how did this happen?
I mean, I bought the furniture. But I can't really take the credit. It was a lot my supervisor and the team that he brought in. But it was very interesting to just discover and develop the operations that we have today, and just to set up a process on how are we going to sell this product. That was for me super interesting. You know, coming from an entrepreneurship school, it was a type of challenge that I wanted. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So in terms of like, you kind of make it sound easy. The fact that, like, I know that it was a difficult process for you, but it sounds easy the way you describe, you know, just, coming here, he hired you and it was done. But like,
that's only the first part of the story. So yeah, after they hire me, which this is important also for employers out there to know, if you're hiring someone right out of school, it's very likely that they have a work authorization, whether that's for a year or for 3 years, depending on their field of study. So that gives you some time to figure things out. They decided to sponsor me with a green card, which was the best case scenario for me. However, these are processes that they not only take a very long time, but you don't know how long is that going to be.
Yeah.
Okay. They tell you it can be from 12 to 36 months. And you're like, okay.
That's a wide window.
Yeah, it's because it's so uncertain and it's always changing. It depends a lot on the administration that's in power in the government. And I don't mean that in any specific way. It's just that whenever someone changes these policies, then the timing that you have to wait for your paperwork to come through, it just changes.
And during that period of time, are there limitations of like?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So like a lot of times there's things like, for example, you cannot be over 90 days or unemployed, or there's a lot of steps in the process in which you cannot leave the country. So I was not able to leave the country for a year and a half or something like that.
So you can't see your family, like,
no,
yeah, okay.
I mean, I was fortunate enough to see my family because they were able to visit, but it's nerve-wracking because you're like, what if an emergency happens or something, and I cannot leave and I cannot go anywhere. Yeah. So I think that that's one of the hardest things for everyone that's going through these processes.
Definitely.
So yeah, also, which was a personal limitation for me. This doesn't happen to everyone, but you can only make money from the person that is hiring you at that time under a specific type of structure, which in my case was the structure of a sponsorship. So for example, I had my own business as an Instagram influencer. So I had to work for free. I was at a point in which I could be making money from my business, but I couldn't do it just because it was illegal. And of course, I was so scared, to do anything, to even charge someone like $100. Where I was like, no, I'm not going to risk it. I'll work for free. Yeah. So that was frustrating. And also, since you don't know how long this is going to take, and the work authorization that you may have at a certain moment always has an expiration date. That's very important. It always has an expiration date. I had to go to a second MBA. So I had to go back to school. Okay. Yes. So at this point, did you already finish the MBA? Yes. I had graduated from my first MBA. Okay. And I needed to do a second one just so that I could have a work authorization. So these are like two different MBA certificates, essentially. Yeah. I didn't graduate from the second one. Okay. I'm a dropout. Well, you still have a certificate, so you're fine. I get to say I'm a dropout. Isn't that what people in Silicon Valley do? So, exactly. I had to do that so that I could have a work authorization so that I could keep on working for the company that was sponsoring me until I was able to get my green card. So that was a lot. So then you're balancing working for, are you working for free at this point and going to school? Wow, that's a lot. I'm going to school and doing my actual work. I have questions about, I don't want to get off topic, but I have questions about your food Instagram, because this is the first day I've heard about this, and I find that extremely interesting. Is this just like a passion of yours? Like what? Yes, so it started, I actually started it like probably 8 years ago or 9 years ago. It got to like 13,000 followers or something. It wasn't. That's so hard to do. It was hard, but for me it was, I think I needed a creative outlet. Definitely. And I think that in this time where I was struggling so much with this immigration process, I really hated my second MBA. Oh. And it was just too much for me. So having 123 Gourmet, that's the name of my account. Having 123 Gourmet for me was a way to escape from it all. Definitely. And something that just kept me so motivated. I think that's important to have, is an outlet for anybody. Because with these struggles, it makes so much sense. And what types of food is it? Stuff that you cook, like? Yeah, so it was a lot about creating gourmet moments out of your everyday life. Oh. So, you don't really need to spend a lot of time cooking or to know a lot to have something that feels special for you on a daily basis. So something as simple as little tricks. I don't know, I could teach you how to do this yogurt sauce in 2 minutes, that if you put it with some roasted carrots or something, it was just going to elevate your roasted carrots and make them somewhat special. Yeah. Or even things like putting just a tiny bit of cinnamon on top of the broth in your coffee. Makes all the difference. Yes. The little details. It was just like encouraging people to do that. I love that. And right now I'm not doing it just, I think because I don't need it. I think that there's, at this point, I have other things in my life that, that give me that type of joy, that fulfillment. That fulfillment. But at that time it was so nice just to hear from people how I remember, this is completely off topic, I know,
That's okay.
but I remember, well, no, actually it is not, because I remember someone who wrote to me a message from Germany. This woman, she was from Venezuela as well. Oh. And she was like, you know what, I just really want to thank you because I came to Germany all alone and I was not finding myself or anything. And really following you, you inspired me to get back into the kitchen. And getting back into the kitchen, I was able to find myself again.
Wow.
Even through this immigration process that I was going
wow.
through. So this person was really able to connect to an important part of her because I inspired her to do so. And for me, that was just everything.
That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I think that this is interesting. I think I've never seen it through this lens. You know, food has a very nostalgic element. It connects you to something. I think that in my case, it connected me to my past. In my house in Venezuela, there used to be a huge food culture. My mom, she used to collect cookbooks. So she had a whole library, a whole room just with cookbooks. It was impressive. So I think that maybe it just
made you think of home a little.
Yes, and it made me feel closer. It made me create a home in a place that it took for some time
that wasn't
for
home
me.
Yet.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
That makes so much sense.
And I think it was beautiful, and it's still beautiful. In fact, one of the reasons that I stopped doing my Instagram was because I felt disconnected from my joy of cooking, just because I was focused so much on the production of it all.
Yep.
Because you start professionalizing yourself, you know, on the video, on the photograph, on the delivery.
It can transform and feel, I could totally see how that could happen.
Yes.
And become something else. And
yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I just find so much joy in just really connecting to my cooking and looking at a cookbook. Of course, whenever you're putting recipes out there, they need to be recipes that you created. Yep. I just really loved following recipes from a cookbook.
Yes.
You know, that someone else was doing.
That's hard to do. I mean, that's a whole job in of itself.
Yeah. So I really wanted to get back to that. So I think that I'm on a sweet spot right now.
Yeah. And you totally can. And so, okay, so your journey right now, I mean, being a director, you didn't start as a director.
No,
so you worked your way up.
Yes, I think it was the right company, the right time, and also I think I did a good job in the way that I engaged with clients, and I discovered how to engage with clients with the product that we were selling. And
tell us a little bit more about your specific process. I feel like you add a lot of human element to what you do. And I think that's really important because I feel that way when I'm connecting. I mean, in sales or recruiting or whatever it may be, when you're connecting with people, finding that common ground. And I feel like that's something you're really good at. So I'd love to kind of hear more about that.
You mean like my process whenever I'm with a client?
Yes.
I'm engaging in a conversation? Yes. So I think that listening, it's the key part about selling.
Yes.
I always tell my team, like, the more that you get people to talk at the beginning, the more that you have pieces of information that you're going to refer to later on the conversation and be like, hey, because, you were mentioning that this is actually a pain point for you. Maybe you don't call it that way, but this is a pain point for you. So this is why this specific thing that I'm mentioning, it's going to be a solution for you. Not because I said it, but because you said it, basically.
Yes.
That has been something that I've developed really well for the product that we're selling.
Yeah.
Also for me, just to be able to have an honest conversation with someone, even if it's something about the weather, just to make it feel, or to actually do it in a genuine way.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just open a conversation. People are like, "So, how are you?" And instead of doing
of diving right into what it is that you're buying or selling, it's like it's nice to establish that.
Yes, to establish something.
Yeah.
And maybe you tell them like, "Hey, where are you calling from?" Because everyone right now it's meeting over Zoom.
Yeah.
And they might tell you from a lot of times, again, they tell me towns that I have not heard in my life, especially not being from here.
Right.
And I'm completely honest. I'm like, I am so sorry, but I have never heard of the place that you live in. Like, please tell me more. Like, I am from a completely different place. And just to start a conversation in a very honest way, just to get people to feel more comfortable, I think it's key.
And I think they appreciate that too. Like, just the honesty, and then they remember something about you that's unique.
Totally.
You know, and then you don't forget that. That's what I like too, is that when I have a unique conversation, I never forget it. I remember that, you know, this is the person that had 2 pugs like I have, or something, you know. It's like,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And also those conversations make it easier for you to follow up with a client.
Yes.
Whenever you're working a deal that has several steps.
Yep.
And, you know, there's something actually that I wanted to highlight about this process, because it's something that I've realized lately. It never occurred to me, and this is going to sound very basic, but I just had like that
light bulb moment.
Yes, thank you. I'm working this deal, which is a huge deal that the company is engaged with. And the person on the client side that's handling everything operationally, it's a young woman. And we just got along really well. And this deal, it's going amazing, and everything is flowing so well. Just because we are able to connect with each other. And I'm like, you know, no wonder that sometimes it's difficult for a woman in the workplace to get some things done. Don't get me wrong, they get them done. But I think it's more complicated because a lot of times the people that you're dealing with are not women like yourself that it's easier to connect with. So
you feel like you're speaking their language.
Absolutely. It's
versus trying to connect to something that you don't. It's harder.
Yes. Yeah. I know. And even something stupid, but like telling you, if I meet with you, for example, or we're on a Zoom call, and I tell you, Amanda, you have such a beautiful shirt today. Like, seriously. I mean, can you imagine me telling that to a guy? Or even worse, a guy telling that to me? You know, those are things that just...
But it's a natural thing for us to do. Exactly. And we're like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, you feel so good.
And it's a way to connect.
Yes, yes. But I can totally understand that. And I think that's the importance of diversity. We talk about this a lot, especially lately in growing a company. We're trying to grow our company. And, you know, having a diverse crowd allows you to connect with all these different people. And I often see that, like, different people within our company connect with different people. And that's important to us. I can't connect with everyone, but I can connect with some people really well. And that's where I feel like with branding, it's like, that's why I feel it's important to have that authenticity. It's like, be who you are, because somebody will, not everyone will like you, but there are certain people that will.
Yes,
and they'll really, they won't forget you, and they want to work with you long term.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. It's definitely crucial to get that diversity. That's actually something that I'm trying to get right now in our team. And actually, going back to where we started the conversation, that's why I'm open to hiring immigrants. And it's crazy that I need to say it that way, but that's something that probably 80% of employers are not going to tell you.
Right.
Because I think that they're key for having a diverse team. So,
and a unique perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you know, I think when you're different in a sales environment, especially, you stand out. It's up to you whether you're standing out in a positive way or in a negative way. I think that it's very easy to make it positive. But it's like when you wrap a product with a very special packaging, just so that it stands out next to the other products that it has next to it on a counter or anywhere. Yeah. I think it's the same for a person. Yeah. Whenever your packaging is different, you're going to stand out. It's going to be easier for people to remember you.
I love that. You have a special, what was it? You have a special quote. It was like something so cool. It was like leaving your mark, or something we talked about a couple of weeks ago. I don't know, but I loved it. It was just like making your unique stamp on the world. And I thought that was so inspiring.
Oh my
that-
God, I'm trying to remember.
I know. That's okay. We can always share later.
Was
but-
was it about the accents maybe?
Maybe.
No.
Yeah, maybe it was about the accents. Yeah.
Yes. So this is not a phrase that I invented.
Yeah.
This actually it's from a journalist. She was an NBC journalist, Mariana Matheus, and she always used to say that accents are medals that you get to wear.
Yeah.
And I think that is so true. I wish that forever, whenever people hear me speak, they know that I am not from here. I want that to be the case. For me, being different and just identifying as an immigrant and have people know that that's my case, it's something that does not only give me pride, but I think that for people who understand and for people who value this, they see it as something that's part of my resume, even when they don't have my resume in front of them.
Yeah.
I think it talks about overcoming obstacles.
Definitely.
And growing in an environment with adversity.
Definitely.
That tells a very good story about you. And I wish that all immigrants really were able to understand that or see it that way.
I love that you said that too, and I think it represents a lot of grit because so many people can easily grow up, even people that live here and don't have to go through everything that you went through to be here. It's like people could easily turn around and go home, and it's like I'm sure people do all the time, but the fact that you're here, you made it, and you're making something of yourself, and you're living the life that that you dream of, and it's wonderful, and it's so inspiring. So
thank you. Thank you. I think it's something that goes both ways. I am getting a lot from being in here. I am getting a lot from the American culture, and hopefully people that surround me are getting something from me that makes them richer, culturally speaking.
Definitely. I think so. I definitely think so. Well, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure, and I hope we can continue to have these conversations because I do think you're such a light, in this world and in this office. I love that we get to, share this office space together and just see you on a regular basis. So thank you so much for being on our show, and can't wait to share this with everybody.
Oh my God, no, thank you for this opportunity. I've really loved the light conversation that we had going on.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Oriana, and pop off, Queens.